Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 essentially of the video that was going to be 1, and then while editing it, it was already dragging out over 20 minutes, so I've split it up. And in this episode I will be messing about with the front and rear brakes, including camber adjustments, so take a look and see how I do it. So the next job on the list is rear brakes, to check them, but I'm going to change the pads on the back because I'm going to do the front discs as well. The brakes are hardly used, but what I am also going to do is the adjuster for the shoes on this. They're not very good, so I've got a new pair to put on. So when I'm changing those, I'll also change the adjuster and I'll get a bit more precise on how many clicks I can get away with. Yeah, I'll do that. So what you get on these is it's kind of like a offset thing that pushes it out, so it sort of winds in and it pushes these sort of almost like you'd say pistons, guides out, and it pushes your drum brakes out so you can adjust it, because they don't self-adjust, so you have to tend to do it after a couple of races or even one. The inside part gets worn, and so it doesn't click through very well. So I'm changing those on both sides because I have no idea how old they are. I just got them with the car when I bought it. So this is the new one, so you can see in here these little pistons. Now quality wise, you can see it's not as good. Like the originals are much nicer quality. I might even just change the internals. I'll have a look now. So I've decided to just replace the actual internal. See, this is your actual adjusting, so you can see that's starting to just round off into it's not very positive, so that's old. Problem is with the new one, the body of this is rubbish. You see on the old sliders, they're nice and in line. Look at that. These ones, the slot for where your pad shoe actually slots into, they're not even straight. Like, you'd struggle to get it on. Just naff. So all I've done is replaced the actual inner winder for the new one, which is better. I'll stick the old one back on because the old one is actually an original Girling one, so much better quality. So that's back on. I just need to adjust that when the shoe is back on. It's a square ended adjuster on the back, and you just click it up until it locks the drum, and then I tend to sort of knock it off 1 or 2, just depending on how it feels. These pads are still, there's so much meat still left on it. I think I'm actually going to run the drums a bit tighter, hopefully use the back a bit more. But while everything's off, I talked about camber at the start of the video. I'm going to change the camber, and on the Vixen it's basically stacked plates on your top wishbone. So I'm just going to take one of those plates out, and then once it's all back on the floor and sorted, I'll get it checked. But one plate, I think I'm on about 3 degrees at the back, so one plate will knock me to about 4, which is ideal for the AO52 tyres. So I'll do that while all this is off. Okay, see, that's the shims. So it's like 4 bolts, slots down into the 2 underneath, which is good. Oh, wasp. So I've taken one of the shims out, so that'll give me a bit more camber. So now just to do the other side. So The Vixen uses Triumph Spitfire front, and so the wishbones are made by TVR, but the actual sort of hub assembly, things like that, is a Triumph Spitfire. So I'm going to be replacing the pads. You can see they're getting close to not being much left on there at all, which is perfect. So changing the pads, but I changed the pads and not the discs last time, so the discs do actually have quite a lot of scoring to them now. There's a bit of a dip there especially, so I'm going to replace the discs as well. Also, TVR were great in that the top mount is actually on a thread, so I can undo the sort of small lock nut and wind that in a few to give me more negative camber on the front, because as you can see from my tyres, yeah, I'm wearing okay there, but then you can see I'm definitely rolling onto the outside of the tyre because it's non-existent anymore. So more camber on the front will help with that. So I'll just start stripping it all down now. So you have on here little stub axle, GT6, I think GT6 stub axle, a bit thicker, don't get the early Spitfire ones. And then you've got the front hub that's got a bearing in there that I've taken out, and in the back you've got on the disc a bearing on the back. And so I replaced these bearings not long ago. You can see actually the high temperature grease in the middle, so I'm gonna just tap out that bearing and reuse it because it's decent. I'll just undo those bolts and the disc will come straight off the hub then. There you have it. Definitely warm, but I mean, you know, it could keep going. But like I said, they've done. Whoa, they've probably done 2 years, which is all right, isn't it? Now, stupid, I actually told you the wrong thing then. You don't have to tap the bearing out the back. Don't even know what I was thinking. It's only when you're replacing them that you need to take it out of the actual hub. But seeing as I'm just doing the disc sits onto the back of it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So I'll go and get the new disc. Pop that on. So there is the new one. I think made in England, these ones. Which you hope got a bit more trust in when they say that. So I'll stick it on, and then once it's on, I'll actually just run a bit of brake cleaner on it just to get any sort of grit off there. That's nice. Slot that bad boy back on there. Now, front little bearing, see if we can just find some grease and just re-grease it. And the idea is you sort of hand tighten it up and maybe just give it a little bit of a nip, and then you wind it out a couple of flaps, because if you crush the bearing in, it's just going to overheat. So it's much better because I've messed with the bearing, get it in, tighten it up, knock it back a bit, drive the car around for just like 10-15 minutes, and that'll just seat everything. Then come back in, check the nut. Maybe you want to just twist another flat onto it, but you don't want them tight. Little bit, tiny little bit of movement in a wheel, in my opinion, is better than a bearing overheating and going bang on you. So I'll find some grease. People probably have loads of different sort of ideas for grease. I've got Penrite high temperature wheel bearing grease. I mean, bit of a Ronseal thing, does what it says on the tin. So my lovely clean rag, just going to wipe a bit of the excess off, check. Yeah, it's nice, the bearing is. No cracks in the casing or anything like that. So that is lovely. Get into this. And just a nice dollop. Now this washer that's on the outside, it's actually got a little bit of a keyway to it as well. So you've got a flat on there. So your keyway goes in there like that. Push that on there. I said you sort of just literally do it hand tight, and then essentially I usually try a couple of flats. You've got a tiny little bit of backlash. That's all you need. I mean, I've been racing these front suspension setups in the Spitfire and this for 13 years now. Now, I'm sure there's a much better fancy engineering way of doing these things, but quite frankly, as you may or may not know by now, I really do race on a budget. It's Brands Hatch this weekend, which hopefully everyone will have a decent time at, but because of the issues I had at the last race and time scales and money coming in, I've had to miss it. But things are going well at this moment on the hair, so I'll be back out soon. Next, it's the caliper. I've left it connected, there's no point in disconnecting it. You've got these little split pins, so we'll take those out. And what you find, the pads will just come out, which is cool. I remember now why these are tight. So when I last did the brakes, it's a bit of an emergency operation because my pins are larger than the holes in the calipers. Forgot about that. So we had to drill them out, but the problem was we were drilling them out in the paddock with knackered old drills that wouldn't really come out. That's one. So not far off. Bit of meat left. But outer one though. Don't think that would have done another race, would it? So squeeze these pistons back in. You'll notice like the dust seals on these are naff, but the problem you get is you put new seals on and they literally melt the first time you go out. No bloody point. Okay, we're good to go then. So I've taken that ball joint off, wound this in. I've done it 3 turns, which is a lot, but I hardly had any camber on the front and it's shredding the tyres, so I've gone a bit extreme and I can always wind it back out, but I need to get the car fully tracked basically first. So I've done that, that's all back together. I mentioned about the calipers, brake pads. These are your new, so I use carbon Lorraine. The hole is too small for my pins, so I have to drill them out to, well, I'll use 7mm for my pins. And so I'm just using the pillar drill here to drill those out, and we can carry on. So this side's complete, just got to put the little pins back in on the pads, but yeah, it's very good. It's definitely time to do the pads. You can see that is the one that I took out, and that's the new one. So yeah, don't think I would have survived the next race actually. So there you go. So that's basically it. So I've done the diff, done the oil leak on the front. Hopefully that's sorted, even though I've had to cut the gasket, fingers crossed. Brakes, camber, everything like that. So I'll do the other side, but that's it. Car's sort of done. So that's basically the end of this episode. So next time it'll be Alton Park next. So really looking forward to that. Going to do a little bit of a test drive on this to make sure everything's right. Get it tracked before we go, but other than that I think we're ready to go. So until next time, see you later.